Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Jesse, your DM.
Cody playing Lazarus.
Brennan playing Dis.
Mike playing Nim.
Britt playing Kenna.
And we are Double Doubles and Dragons. We're a group of goofy Canadians that have gotten together to play a little D&D. Sometimes we will say things that are inoffensive. We mean them as jokes, of course, and they're certainly funny to us, but some people may find this offensive. If you do, we apologize, but we don't want any hate mail about it. So just don't listen, okay? Let's jump right into the action. All right. So welcome back, everybody. Quick recap of the last episode. We were working through some more downtime activities. We made our way through Kenna and Nim setting up a little bit of a laundry cartel with the guards. They got their own building, just a little one-story one. They picked up a new clerkman named Alex. And we did also move on to Lazarus, and we dealt with getting set up with Philly, who's going to be working on repairing his gear soon, once she gets a shop set up. And may even be able to make the trinket / necklace / whatever you end up wanting that to be for carrying your turquoise gem. Anything anybody wants to cover really quick before we get back in? All right, we will get back at it then. Lazarus, I guess we'll come back to you. At this point, I would say everybody's done about 3 weeks of work, maybe a little less for Lazarus, but you have been working on the puzzle as well, so we'll kind of call it somewhere in and around that area. I would like to step forward in somewhere around those amount of time, so if you continue, the next set will be about 2 to 3 weeks again, sort of thing. So you're looking at about a month to a month and a half. If you continue forward with the downtime. Is everybody good with continuing forward with the downtime in that manner?
Sure.
Okay, then we will pick back up with Lazarus. So obviously at the end of 2 weeks here, Philly will be set up and we'll be able to kind of deal with a little bit more than that. But that does give you 2 weeks to do whatever else you would like to do. So what's next on Lazarus's wish list?
I suppose, with the restrictions of travel, Lazarus would figure out whether or not it's even possible to go to the library runs and stuff like that anymore.
Currently travel to rungs outside of the areas you can go to, as we've mentioned, is very restricted.
So you can't go and do the history thing anymore at the moment?
Not unless you could provide either a very good reason for the guards to let you go, or you kind of get the impression a fairly large bribe might possibly work. It's not something you'd be allowed to do under normal circumstance, so you'd have to find an unnormal circumstance.
Okay. And so you can't... I suppose Lazarus would just have to ask the guards straight up whether or not, and being faithful is enough for him to still be able to do, like, go to the religious run or anything.
Trying to think of how they would phrase it to you. Basically, as far as they're concerned, while being faithful is important, it is not an access card.
Mm-hmm. Lazarus asked, is there a temple or anything to Eldath within Stronghold?
Just looking for the very basic information. So, through talking with the guards and being fairly well known in the farming run, like, you do have a bit of your own reputation. Maybe not as much as Nim and Kenna are slowly growing with their laundry business, but you're not unknown. You do find a guardsman who has actually been helping build the church in his off time, and he's able to give you a little bit more information, mostly just because he feels more comfortable talking to you, especially from a religious perspective. He does advise you that essentially the way the religious rung is set up is it is meant to, in theory, encompass a church for every religion, so that no one religion feels segregated within the Stronghold. Mostly because they believe that would cause tensions, and that's definitely not what they're after. That being said, he is aware of the fact that there's supposed to be a church for every denomination. He's not sure if Eldath has her own, or what size of congregation it would have, but he does tell you that it should, in theory, be there. Okay. And even if it isn't, there wouldn't be any direct block to you starting one.
Okay. Alright. So I suppose the next order of business would be to start asking around these merchants.
Okay.
In the market route. And the one I have marked to check out first is Aquanarian.
Okay. Let's go down to that. All right. So you begin looking at the names. of the merchant groups. Aquanarian being one of the ones that you were given. What are you looking for in particular? Like, what information are you starting to try to gather here?
So, first of all, I'm trying to pick out, to gauge if there's anything relating back to my family.
Okay.
That was where I was looking at names regarding Dragonborns and whatnot, especially
Correct.
blues, anything that has involves the blues. Lazarus, I don't think I've even still seen a single blue.
To date, you have not.
Yeah, so he's suspicious about that. So, yeah, he's gonna kind of he's gonna figure out where they are, and then he's gonna give them kind of like the open pass, just like kind of observe outside the building of each for a bit and see what kind of business goes on.
Sure. So what you've in terms of kind of initial investigation, you've learned a couple of things actually about all three of the names that you were given. Mainly being all three of the family names that you were given rank very highly within the merchant guild. As such, their headquarters, so to speak, is in the guild rung, rather than being centered here. There are individuals that work for their groups that are obviously present in the market rung, mostly because this is a section where a lot of selling and buying goes on, so it would be very silly not to have things here. Do a luck roll for me and a persuasion roll.
11 and 25.
Okay. You pick up a couple of things asking around. The first is none of the three family names you were given appear to have a direct history in shipbuilding, which, I mean, considering that's what your family really did, does seem to kind of separate them from you a bit. You do learn that the Aquanarians and the ship rotors both have a decent-sized number of Dragonborns in their employ. However, none of them are of the blue variety. Upon inquiring into that little tidbit of strangeness a little deeper, you come across a green Dragonborn who you get fairly drunk at a bar one night and lets a story he heard slip. Apparently, not long after the initial catastrophe, when the Stronghold was still more or less in its infancy and they were looking for some of the original groups to help construct its inner workings, apparently there is a rumor that each of the Dragonborn groups were pitched to be brought in for their different jobs they were very good at. And a specific pitch was made to the Blue Dragonborns for shipbuilding. Now, the individual you're talking to, as far as he has ever known, the Stronghold does not have, nor does it border, a large amount of water. So he doesn't understand why shipbuilders were invited. It's even kind of a little bit of a joke among the Dragonborns in the Stronghold, like, why would we need shipbuilders? Like, that's the stupidest thing ever. However, the joke is kind of on the Stronghold, as the story goes, the entire Blue Dragonborn group rejected joining the Stronghold in any way. They would not allow their people to be brought into it, and they would not have anything to do with it. They seemed very much against the entire concept.
Lazarus is also against the Stronghold.
So maybe not so strange.
Well, I mean, it's like they're consolidating all the powers of good in one place and have a flood pool.
That may be part of it. The green Dragonborn you're talking to doesn't have an idea as to why they didn't do it, only that that entire group of Dragonborns rejected the idea and moved off elsewhere.
Oh, shit. Alright.
There is one other rumor he has, though he can't substantiate it. Although I guess that's technically true of most rumors. Mm-hmm. There was a rumor at one time that the Blues didn't willingly say they didn't want to join. They were told they couldn't join. But that's not the most prevalent story. he also does give you a piece of advice. He recommends that should the condition arise where travel between the rungs is permitted, he would recommend that if you go to any of the rungs higher than the market rung, he recommends you do everything you can to disguise your skin color. As it is a well-known fact that Blue Dragonborns do not cohort with the Stronghold, and it would draw attention to you.
All Lazarus' fault.
It's all racism. It all comes back to racism.
Alright, well, how the hell am I going to do that now?
It's only his suggestion.
Yeah, I'm going to have fun and necklace and just change the speaker. Alright. Well, that's information. Alright. Okay. Then what Lazarus is going to try and do is try to wiggle his way into a job for lifting and mostly heavy transportation.
Okay. To try to make a little money?
That, and he's trying to set up routes.
Okay.
So, and just honest work in transportation is a really good way to not only figure out routes from talking to people, but just also have reasons to be on those routes.
Sure, absolutely. I can pretty much guarantee that as soon as somebody of your specific size pitches that they're willing to do heavy lifting work, I doubt you would want for pitches. Is there somewhere specifically you're trying to be in a close proximity to?
Yeah, I kind of want to be in close proximity to, I guess, where the major merchants are doing their business.
Okay,
So,
kind of like where things have been relocated,
Yeah.
sort of thing?
Yeah, so I kind of want to be not working directly for them, but near where a lot of action is.
Okay. Are you interested in all in the Lord or getting back to the warehouse?
Sorry, I'm not following.
Are you interested in getting back to either of those locations? Like, would you try to specifically find work that goes to those places as well?
No, so this is more, Lazarus is going to pick up the skills to become useful to do certain other things in the Stronghold.
Okay, that sounds fine.
So in case he's planning ahead in case he needs that there's a reason for us to have to move something through the market round, and he'll have the rest to do it.
Okay, that sounds perfectly fine. Yeah, absolutely. There's very little, not to make it sound like they'll take anybody, but they kind of will take anybody, honestly, and just due to your size and the little bit of a reputation you have going with already helping with the church and heavy lifting, it doesn't take much effort at all for you to find quite a few of the more well-off merchants that are looking for larger individuals to pull routes, especially because pack animals are quite scarce right now. As by almost sheer unpleasantness, 3 of the 7 main stables in the market rung were within the blast radius. So they've lost a fairly heavy contingent of oxes, horses. So yeah, a big, strong lizard wanting to pull a cart, they are all for that.
Okay, and he's gonna stick to all the most honest jobs there.
Okay.
And like low buying, because they're all doing other things that otherwise reputation. Lazarus is going to try and build that reputation.
That low
honest level.
Sure, I like that. So honest jobs.
In case we get to shit and Lazarus' reputation fails.
Sure, absolutely. All right, I think if it's all right with you, we'll settle that there, and which of the 3 would like to go next?
Brennan's pretty focused on this puzzle, so I don't know.
Okay.
Guess I'm going for it.
Sure. So Nim, where does that leave us with wanting to do stuff for you next?
Well, so I want to save a bunch of money first.
Okay.
So how much is it? 50 GP per spell level. And we have debts, so...
Yes, don't forget about the 7,500 gold you owe.
Yeah.
I think that's right. Let me check my note. Yeah.
This wasn't passing. We happened to figure out what the cost of the generator is.
No, they told you up front that's what they were going to charge you.
Doesn't mean that's what you're doing.
True, but it is what you owe.
I don't know. Am I garnering any information from the guards and clientele?
You certainly can be. What things are you prodding?
I guess after our little mission to Faylin's shop, I kind of want to try maybe find out if she owned that shop or if it was more of a maybe it's owned by someone else and she was just renting it.
Okay, that's definitely a fair point. The guards that you deal with, some of the guards you deal with are the ones that got you your shop in the first place, so they are obviously semi-well-versed in that material. You also get a little bit of interaction through the guards with some of the merchants that Lazarus is dealing with. There are a certain class of merchant in the merchant rung that kind of have satellite businesses and tend to own a fair amount of things. Through those two connections, through the guards and the merchants, you come across the information that the shop that Faylin was residing in had been vacant for a year, with, for whatever reason, nobody wanting to buy it. At that 3-month ago period, Faylin showed up at the registration office and paid for not the ability to rent the building, which would have run somewhere in the order of a couple of 100 gold a month, give or take, which is what a nice taller shop was running at the time. She bought it flat, which was just over 5,000 gold. She had it on her, she dropped the bag on the counter, and bought the whole building.
What the hell? I'm so confused. Okay. I guess I'll thank them for their information and pass that along to the group next time I see them.
They do also apologize. They mistakenly believe your query into the building is you looking for a place to move the laundry, which you may have even kind of given them that impression to help speed the knowledge along. But they indicate that despite the fact that Faylin does no longer appear to be working in the building, her only condition upon purchase was that under no condition could it be resold to anybody. She owned it for life. So they kind of give you that, sorry, we can't sell you that particular building. Are you interested in a different building?
I guess I'll query them for more information just based on, if they know if it had a basement at any point or if there was any more to the building other than the main floor in the apartment above.
Okay. In terms of getting somebody that has more blueprint level knowledge of the building, that's more the clerks of the registration office. You don't have as good of a relationship with them, just because you haven't really interacted with them as much. You get a guard that kind of knows a guy that knows a guy and gives you the indication that if you're interested in getting that kind of information, he could probably arrange it. But the clerk is either going to want a bribe or some sort of other service. It's not information they're supposed to be giving out, so he could, in theory, get in trouble.
Okay.
Yeah, so bribe or services. He seems rather
what's the service that they're looking for?
The individual in particular seems to be having a problem with a tenant that has decided that because of the situation the city is in, that they've just decided they don't need to pay their rent, and they're looking for somebody to encourage them to rethink that proposal.
All right. Well, I'll bring this to the party.
Okay.
Particularly Des. Going in. I think we just need to threaten the guy.
broken legs, you got it. You want them to walk afterwards, or?
Are you guys just... I mean, like, I assume Kenna and Lazarus are here for this.
Yeah.
I want no part in this.
You want no part of this?
I mean, I could sweet talk the person, but not threatening them.
Alright, well, we could use that as, like, stage 1, you know? Get the hot druid to convince them to pay their rent.
It works. We can see what favor would cost.
Yeah, I suppose you haven't asked how much money they're looking for in
We
a
could also
bribe.
offer free services for some time. Yeah, sure.
Mm.
Where is the shop located?
Oh, the shop they want you to deal with? It's about maybe 30 minutes away from your shop. It's in a semi-decent area.
Yeah, I think we'll send you in first, and then Dis and I will wait outside in case that doesn't work.
What's the shop owner's name?
The name that they give you is Kane.
Sounds like a dude.
Alright. So I guess three of us will... Or is Lazarus coming along for the...
What are you going to do?
Shakedown.
Well, they're breaking the law.
Are we going to shake down now?
The person who isn't paying their rent.
Yeah, some guys been paying his rent, so we're gonna go shake him down.
Sure.
I feel like Lazarus would be all over that. It's lawful.
It is lawful.
He's over there for the waffle, not the shakedown.
Yeah.
That's true. I suspect the shakedown is
Are we gonna like
slightly less lawful.
mafia? You just do this shit? Start be like, hey, maybe something will happen to your shop, you don't pay up.
And then just
You're paying for
tip something
protection.
off the...
Yeah.
Alright, so...
lift you up, you're like...
If I may, you are going to go attempt to intimidate this person.
Well, we're gonna try to
Into-
persuade them first.
In some way.
Yes.
How do you all look when you go?
Well, Kenna looks fantastic.
Kind of looks
Well, see, the reason I ask is, I mean, obviously, some of you are getting a certain amount of notoriety within the community. So I'm trying to figure out if you're just going as you are you in disguise a little,
No, I'm going as
anything
I
like
am.
that.
Who wouldn't want Kenna, the dry cleaner?
I feel like that's maybe the least seductive nickname Kenna's ever had. I'm Kenna, the dry cleaner.
True.
The wet cleaner? The spot cleaner? The fragrance maker.
The fragrance maker.
Just call her Kenna the cleaner and have her show up in the maid outfit.
Could do that.
I think you'd have to find a maid outfit first.
I guess... I don't know about Dis, but Nim might go... Since he might have to get into some shady shit, Nim will be slightly disguised.
Okay. In what way? I mean, there's the
How many-
mundane ways you are
let's-
also a
let's-
caster.
Do you have a disguise kit, don't you?
I do.
Or, I should just ask for... How many gnomes do I see on a daily basis?
Yes.
There's not none, but you do definitely seem to be on the smaller side of the
Like
population.
even better looking.
Like, no,
Okay,
change
so
the
I'll
look,
just
and
try
that's
to,
not
like...
Kenna, but I'm still not.
I'll try to look like
Change
another
your hair
gnome
color
that
and
I
like...
know.
Oh, okay. Maybe just like change
I
your
think
clothes,
disguise
maybe the
kit should go
facial
together,
hair,
really.
that kind of
Something
stuff.
you just walk
Yeah.
You don't really have facial hair, actually.
Yeah, maybe
What
I'll
color
like...
do you
Dis
put
has
on?
a disguise kit. He might be able to give you a beard or
You can
something.
black hair really easily. Sure. Yeah, I'm gonna disguise get Kenna as well.
Okay, okay.
So we've decided. So I'm still going to be hot, but I'm going to be a little less Kenna and a little more...
Yeah, I'm gonna do her hair up.
Goddess
Yeah,
hair.
give her like black hair. It's gonna be like long, black, straight hair.
Okay, little charcoal rub in there, I thought I heard you mention.
Yeah,
Okay.
and anything some thick black charcoal eyeliner.
Okay.
You know
Okay.
that?
Is Lazarus just like wrapped in 2 robes?
I got a disguise kit for you. You can be a red dragon.
Just stab him in the forehead.
Just rub the blood on him.
What is
You're
wrong?
not producing enough. Come on.
I feel like maybe Dis is supposed to be a little better with his disguise kit than that. You're proficient with it, if I'm not mistaken.
I should be.
I think you got it from your background.
Yeah.
So he's actually good at disguising people.
I am. Like, oh yes, perfect. You're like zombie, half zombie face. Special effects is what we're going for, right?
Okay, so the general plan here, if I'm not mistaken, is Kenna will still look hot, but black-haired and a different hairstyle. Nim's gonna look like a different gnome he knows, so maybe facial hair and a different hat or something to that effect.
Yeah, probably just a mustache and like maybe glasses and a hat.
Okay, wow, like going full Unabomber, I guess. sounds like super not intimidating, but okay, that sounds good. Lazarus, sorry, are you comfortable with being like changed in color?
Like, how would you change me?
Well, that was going to be my
Color
next
him?
question.
Do you have paint or anything?
Oh, I can find something.
It's a disguise kit. It supposedly contains everything you need on a reasonable level to disguise
I feel
somebody.
like paint would be something.
You would think,
Would you
because
have
you wouldn't really
enough-
have makeup, so you'd be using paint and just being like, yeah, don't worry about the side effects.
But would we be able to like put like some clothing on him, some like heavy robes? You
Yeah.
had to paint like
Yeah, I was going to
his
say,
face
And the hands and
hands.
I think I'm gonna go pick up a traveler cloak.
Okay, because I
that
doubt you
would
have
work.
the paint required to,
Yeah.
like, paint his whole
Yeah, no.
being.
I mean,
Um,
we have
And we'd have to paint
wait.
the tail as well.
In,
Yeah,
in
I
our
mean-
dry cleaning stuff, do we have any like ladies' garments of like a nice shirt and skirt?
Sorry, I was just looking
Should
at,
dress me up in the skirt.
Traveler's clothes is going to be 2 gold. Or, sorry, 4 gold. Everything's doubled here. 4 gold for the Traveler's cloak. Actually, make it 6 due to your size. Sorry. In the meantime, so you're looking for, like, Kenna gear, I guess?
Some like sultry lady gear.
How
Some women
we
of
were
the night
saying
here,
this has
or-
been
Not
somewhere
super
between
women of the night.
4 and 6 weeks after your dry cleaner business started. I don't know that you would have a lot of like fine ladies coming
Doesn't need
in
to be
perhaps just
fine.
yet, but there are definitely ladies who come to the shop and
Like just someone
There's-
in my
yeah.
armor.
yeah, no, you can definitely find something to wear that isn't your armor that you wear every day. There's totally even just like simple
Yes.
like
That's what
somewhat
I
fine
want. I
ladies
just want
clothing is
some
fine.
symbols so that if the lady's clothes I'm wearing notices, she would know it's hers.
Okay, sure. Yeah, nothing unique.
Exactly.
Nothing too unique. I mean, obviously, you have a fairly heavy contingent of clothing coming through your store at
Are
this
you
point,
okay
so...
with me borrowing a dress from our dry cleaning business?
Where do you think I'm getting my hat and clothes?
Yeah, I mean, I assumed Nim was pilfering his own supply almost immediately.
Yeah, I figured as much. I love that we both went there. Why would I have to go buy clothes? I have clothes at my disposal.
I also do like that Lazarus was like, I can't steal somebody's clothes, and was like, I'm gonna go buy clothes.
And we're like, we're borrowing, we're not stealing.
We're gonna
That's
clean,
what everybody that's
we're gonna
That's
clean them
says.
afterwards.
And you know what? Well, if they don't have the scent thing already with them, we will give them the scent for free.
Yeah, look, that's not obvious. Sorry for borrowing your clothes.
No, we just tell them that they were like some whatever customer.
Yeah, they
They
were
got
our 1,000th customer.
Yeah.
Gets sent for free.
Oh, yeah.
Like
There
it.
you go, there you go. Alright, and then Dis, I suppose. What are you doing to disguise yourself? I'm not
eye
gonna
patch.
lie, you really haven't seen very many drow elves.
Eye patch and beard.
Eye patch and beard.
An elvish beard.
Yep.
Going for the peacocking version of a disguise. I like it.
I want to go full gentleman, or what I assume.
Ah, very nice. Wait,
Gentleman
eye
drow.
patch or monocle? Because gentleman seems to imply monocle, not eye patch.
Well, if there's
Also,
a
where are you
possibility
getting
of
the
a
fancy cane to
monocle,
walk with?
the fancy cane, that's my sword. I keep it sheathed. I'm just like, got a custom made.
I don't think your stone things are long enough to reach the
Good point,
ground.
good point. I don't need my gentleman's cane. The gentleman just exudes for me.
He's not an old gentleman.
Is Dis going to be wearing somewhat finer gentleman clothing as well from the store?
That's up to yes.
Oh, I mean, if the opportunity is there, then yes.
Somewhat attractive gentleman's clothing, but then combined with an eye patch and the beard. I like it. I like the mentality. I'll throw it out there. I'm terrible at drawing. If there is anybody out there that wants to draw Dis with an eye patch, a beard, and some sort of fancy gentleman's clothes, I would very much like to see it.
And it must be a pointy.
Oh, absolutely. Bordering on Jafarian.
I would expect nothing less.
Okay, I'm cool with all of that. You have the materials at your disposal to perform all of those activities. So let's go deal with the shopkeeper. All right, so you all get there, and the shopkeeper, or the shop itself is a butcher shop.
Oh, great. Not much sharp shit.
And it's probably very well made.
Okay, so we send Kenna in first.
Yes.
And we're like, don't threaten, just persuade.
So I want to, like, casually be walking around the store, but, like, trying to get a feel for this man. Whose name I forget already.
Kane.
Citizen King.
Okay. All right. Kenna walks inside. Kenna, you're a druid. How do you feel about butchered animals?
I'm fine with it. I understand.
What if it borders on excessive?
In what way? Is it like, is this a meat shop, or is this...
It's a butcher shop.
Okay.
It's, you walk inside, and just in that front room with the counter, you would estimate there is at least 100 dead animals inside, of varying shapes and sizes. The individual actually has 2 full-grown cows hanging behind them that are in the process of being butchered. Nothing appears to be hidden in the background.
Does he appear to be using all of the animal, or is he being like a nasty asshole and just taking the meat and chucking everything?
The owner's not in the room.
Okay.
Judging by what you see, the front counter area has varying bits of the animals displayed for various prices. Okay. So it does seem like there are things like livers and hearts and stuff are being openly sold. So it does seem like at least a certain...
That's fine. We're in the market run. There's a lot
moved.
of people that need to be fed. I have no issues.
Okay. There's still nobody in the front room, but there is a about yay big, about soccer ball sized bell that sits on 2 rotating wheels with a small cord that seems to be for ringing to get service.
Well, I'll ring the bell.
Okay. You pull on the bell?
Oh, I also want to check out before I pull the bell, sorry.
Sure. Absolutely.
Before I pull the bell, I want to see if there's prices listed for the animals and such.
There are, absolutely.
And what are the prices like?
In terms of your general understanding, they're more expensive than you would expect.
Yeah.
Even for the market rung, they seem a little expensive.
Interesting. So he should be able to make his rent. Okay. Cool. So I'll ring the bell.
You pull on the bell, and there is the sound of a door opening and closing from the back of the shop. And the door just behind the counter opens, and a very large, like about a foot taller than Lazarus, Dragonborn walks out into the counter. The Dragonborn is green. And as best you can tell from Dragonborn physiology, she appears to be female.
She's in
That's a bunch of shit, yeah.
She walks up to the counter, puts one clawed hand down. Can I help you?
I was just interested in what you have here for a nice brisket.
I sell each piece of the animal. Point to the one you want to die.
Oh. Interesting. Well,
You're the one in there.
I know I
Are there any windows in to the shop?
Yeah, 2 big bay windows in the front.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I assumed.
Well, this is going on.
am. Please notice this isn't going well. Bitch on bitch is never good.
After a moment of your silence, she just... If you are unsure what you would like, may I recommend the gizzard? Tart flavor for good bosom retention.
Nice.
I think they're just fine, thank you.
If you are happy with how they look, then I am happy.
Oh, like
She's a lesbian.
May I interest you then in pig's heart? Good for the libido.
I'm just looking more for something to make for my friends.
Ah, I see. Then perhaps I should recommend bull testicle. Good for stamina in group events.
Seems that you have quite the interest in encounters.
Meat is well known to be good for pumping.
Alright then, so she has, like, cow in there, she has pig in there, like,
All manner of creatures.
I know what each is, I assume.
Yeah, you're a druid. You're pretty much familiar with all of them.
What the hell would I make you guys? I guess if I was gonna cook you a stew, I'd look for some stew meat. We'll look for some stew meat. I'm gonna end up buying some meat before I get out of this shop for sure, because they're gonna stay.
Stew meat. Meat that goes in a large pot and is diluted.
It doesn't need to be diluted, but yeah, I guess so.
Very well. May I recommend... I have a good deal on cubed squirrel.
Cube squirrel could be delicious.
If you would prefer, I do have rabbit as well, though it was recently harvested and is a little dusty and filled with tiny bits of debris.
I'll take the squirrel.
Very well, then. She kind of just reaches over, grabs a big handful of squirrel meat, pulls out what essentially amounts to a paper sack,
Yeah.
and just kind of drops them in there, folds the edges of it, and kind of presents it to you delicately on the countertop. He goes, very well. Fresh meat, that will be 10 gold.
I don't know!
Obviously.
I'm obviously thrown out of this.
As she's fishing the coins out of her purse, you can't help but notice that the individual behind the counter kind of looks up. I need a stealth roll from anybody looking through the window.
Am I tall enough to look through the window?
If you want to look through the window, I'm sure Nim could find a way.
Yeah, I'll depend on distance.
I'm not looking through it, but I'm not sure if I'm visible. I guess I'll roll anyway.
Up to you.
I got a solid 14 over here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's 11.
Another 3 roll.
Okay.
I'll roll both.
Sorry, what was your roll out?
11.
Okay. So, as she kind of is working on the last of your order and Ken is handing the gold over, you see her kind of, like, lean to the side and look past you. If you want food, come inside. If you want to look, go away.
Which one of us is she looking at?
Doesn't seem to be looking at any of you in particular. She's just shouting it out the door.
I wink, just in case.
Okay.
Who are you talking to?
People outside, not eating meat.
You must make a pretty decent living off of this meat business you have here.
I kill things people want to eat, and they give me money for it.
How has business been since the explosion?
I make enough money to get the meat I need to get more money.
Alright, Nim's had enough of this.
Yeah.
He's gonna...
Help. All right, then. Thank you very much. I'm going. I don't know what to do.
Kenna is leaving. Okay, fair enough. In strides Nim.
On my way out, I would try to let Dis know what I've learned.
Yeah, I would come and too since I was watching.
Okay,
Although Nim,
fair
since that was
enough.
the original.
Super stealthily.
Super stealthily.
I assume when she looks, it's like, oh shit.
I suppose at that point,
Clank,
all
clank,
three
clank.
of us kind of have to go in. We kind of show
I
up.
think so.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have to make sure we're not involved with Kenna.
As the three of you approach, she looks at Dis, who winked at her. She looks at you for a moment, and then she leans over the counter ever so slightly and just says, "Are you a fan of the red door?"
Oh.
I wouldn't say I'm not.
She doesn't seem to offer good or bad on your response.
I pulled my notebook and just like, red door, right?
Are you a fan of the red door?
Saying red door, like a doorway that is red.
You give the right response.
Not as
some
much
kind of-
as the green door.
You have come for meat?
Not exactly. I think we just get down to brass tacks here. So what's going on with the rent?
You can see, like, as much as she has had, what would you call it, a polite shopkeeper demeanor, as you switch topics, she kind of immediately goes from, you want to buy meat to more, I think you need to leave sort of face, as much as Dragonborns can anyway. And she just kind of, I do not discuss rent with customers.
Well, we're not exactly customers. We're here to make sure that places around here have paid their dues for, well, having places around here.
Ah. And she kind of reaches under the counter.
And then I'm like, I wouldn't do that.
She doesn't seem to be listening. She's bringing them back up. Both hands.
Keep your hands at your sides. I pull out my sword.
Okay.
Actually, I don't pull out my swords. I don't escalate. I put my hands on mine.
Okay, alright. She pauses for a moment, but continues to raise them. You begin to see a metal gleam on the countertop.
I'm looking at Nim. I can't do much except cut her.
Yeah, and I can't do much except burn this fucking place to the ground.
As the two of you are discussing your
What
options,
are we doing?
she raises two large bone cleavers in each hand. And I do mean, like, large, even for a dragonborn, they're pretty big. And she just kind of puts both hands on the table. Extortion. A fun game when you bring enough people.
How are we extorting you when we're asking for the money you owe the city?
You want my money? I don't want to give my money. Extortion.
You want to live here? You
So-
want to be here?
I
Owning
thought
this,
Kenna left.
I know.
owning this area.
I think she's keeping an eye, though. She wouldn't leave them in case.
I mean, I assumed you didn't, like, run.
Part of what you have to do when you own a shop in this area is paying the money for the shop. What you're telling us is that what we're seeing here is that you're stealing this place from these good people. I have no idea how the tax system works here.
I like the commitment without understanding how the tax system works here. I really like it. She, like, tilts her head to one side and goes, I pay rent to get services like protection, water, gas. I have none of these.
You don't have water or gas.
But you have your residence.
Yes, my building.
And am I
led to believe you own this building.
I do.
Under what authority?
Mine.
Yeah, and, I own the palace on top of the hill, but that's,
Then I would expect you would protect it from people who seek to take.
It was a little bit of sarcasm there. So don't. Typically, people who send for shakedowns don't.
So you don't own a palace?
I wouldn't be here if I owned a freaking palace.
I'm confused. I think it best you leave.
The point of the matter is that the people around here who own their shops pay money so that they continue owning their shops. You're not paying that money, therefore you don't own the shop.
I am familiar with this process. People pay to use the building. This is my building. I pay to use the gas.
But this isn't your city. This isn't your area. That is the point.
Roll persuasion.
Shit, why don't I just try to deceive?
18.
Okay. She kind of pauses for a moment. So you're saying rent could be paid to continue goodwill in neighborhood?
That would be a fine way of taking it.
Kenna does not wish to be known as cheap. How much did these people send to shake down?
Ask. I was just down for the shakedown.
I'm sure we were told how much did she owe.
History check then.
All your money.
I was just down for the shakedown.
I thought there was some casual violence here.
Okay. What was it? History? 25.
Yeah, 25. Okay, you do remember. She's about 80 gold behind.
Was there any talk of installment payments, or is this just like...
Only that's what she owed and that she wouldn't pay it.
Okay, so...
From what I understand, you're 80 gold in the rears, and... Yeah, that's my understanding of the situation.
I see. 80 gold. Can it be paid in meat?
I don't think they accept meat.
It's not standard currency. As much as it should.
I know you just got 10 gold from our friend Kenna.
I see. 80 gold for neighborhood goodwill. Price seems high. What about 60?
This isn't really negotiable. We're already cutting you a deal on this. It was originally much higher, but we have leeway given to us to make something that we're both happy with.
Deception roll.
Yay!
Fuck!
God damn it.
15.
Okay. Let's see. Her personality. Kenna does appreciate a good deal. Very well. You may have your gold. And she just kind of unceremoniously pulls out a little bag of coins and drops it on the counter.
Take it. I'll just put it on my band.
When you take it, roll a dexterity save.
Oh god. God fucking
You're within my range.
Oh, I have? You're +5, right?
Yeah.
Dexterity save, that would be 15.
Okay. As you reach forward for the coins, one of the cleavers drops from her hand, and her hand comes out and grabs yours. You start to pull away, but she's stronger than you are, so you're stuck there for maybe 2 seconds before you can kind of like twist your wrist to get it away. But in that moment, she slams the cleaver down beside your wrist. not very close to it. There's about that much space between, but the cleaver lands as you pull away, so it definitely could have been bad. And
Lazarus is like a half step leading forward, like as that happens, and it's just like,
she lets go, like she releases what little bit of your hand she has left, and the coins go with your hand, so you pull the coins away. And she just kind of gives you a fan of the red door would be better at extortion. You may leave now. If you need meat, come back.
Absolutely.
What if I need new underwear?
Nim just
I think Nim's got you
services,
covered. This is Nim's gig. I think he can clean your shorts for you.
Thank you for your time. I walk away, possibly quicker than usual.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Jesus, your race is scary. I say that too. As soon as I leave.
We are rather large. Also, she was huge.
Okay, you guys get out of the shop. You've got the gold. I'd call that a win.
We did it!
I didn't have to mind spike the place.
That's awesome. I'm glad you guys did so well.
Yeah, we're experts.
How did it go
Super
with
easy.
you, Kenna?
It was great.
I guess you got squirrel for dinner tonight.
What's in the bag?
I have the
Thank
bag
you,
behind. I
Lazarus.
have the bag behind my back, under my dress.
Can I
Oh,
roll-
wow,
Can I
she's-
roll to smell it?
Yeah, perception check.
How would you know? How would you know?
He
to look?
wouldn't
Sense
know
of
to
smell.
look, but his sense of smell is passive.
Fine.
He's
Yeah, that's not good enough. Roll like 9 versus 2.
No, I would say between the bag and being under her dress. That's
Okay.
probably, yeah.
But
Okay.
I will go home and make squirrel stew for dinner.
Okay, sounds good. Nim, what were you gaining out of this again?
we were gaining information.
Right, on the layout of Faylin's hut.
Yeah.
Or not hut, building. Okay, so yeah, Nim comes back with the money that's due, and through your guard contact, you get actually a full blueprint of the building.
Okay. Anything of note?
Yeah, actually. So, as Dis and you obviously have already found, it is a 2-story building that has the bottom section for business and the upper section is reserved for apartment. It's zoned as such, and those 2 floors definitely lay out correctly. However, the blueprint indicates that the building used to be a tannery and has 2 basement levels for storing that material away from easily smelled positions.
Okay. Does it indicate how the basements were accessed?
It indicates there's just a door off the back entrance, but you've both been in that room and there was no door.
Interesting. Was there a space where the door would be?
Just walls. At least as far as you remember. You'd have to... Honestly, you inspected so much of that building, square by square, you would have to go back to be sure that you missed something.
Okay. I'll discuss this with the group and maybe we can,
This is getting close to solving the puzzle. That's why everybody keeps stalling mid-sentence. Sorry, go ahead, Nim.
maybe I can get the help of, like, Lazarus and Dis, and maybe, worst case scenario, we can just pry up some floorboards and see if there is anything indeed underneath.
Okay. So the idea being go back under cover of nightfall again, I guess?
Yeah.
Okay. Kenna, are you going to be participating in a nightly raid? Okay.
Yeah, I probably would. I wouldn't let them go alone.
Okay, that seems fair. So, everybody's going to go take another look at Faylin's building. I think that's a good place. We'll stop for today. We've already been going for 3 hours. I know some of you said you had other stuff to do, so I think we'll end there. Welcome back, everybody, and we'll see you next time. Wow, what a cliffhanger. I wonder what's going to happen next time. seriously, guys, thanks for joining us. Thanks for listening in. If you liked what you heard, share us with your friends. If you hated what you heard, share us with your enemies. Seriously, though, like, comment, subscribe. We'd love to hear from you, and we'll find out what happens to Double Doubles and Dragons next time.